Yes. So actually, I mentioned earlier that around about 1982, when I saw that documentary called The Animals Video, then I joined the vegan community in Newcastle. But then when I heard devotees talk about how by offering our food to Krishna, then all of the living entities involved are benefited eternally, then I kind of abandoned the concept of veganism to adopt what I considered to be was a higher standard. And I never really thought about the vegan community again. For 20 years I never thought about it. But then of course I noticed in Glasgow that there were a few vegan restaurants opening, and many of the young people who we met on the street were becoming vegan again. And then one person called Tim Harford, he brought Veg Fest to Glasgow in 2015, which was the biggest vegan festival in Europe. And he hired like a huge hall in the Scottish Exhibition Centre, and he invited all of the vegan companies from all over the UK to come there. So we had a stall there, Krishna Eco Farm, and it was really nice actually. I was almost crying because I just felt, wow, it's like my old family from like 30 years ago, the vegans, they've all become professionals, and like they used to be anarchists, and they used to be into drinking like lots of like alcohol and smoking loads of dope, but now they're all clean, and they've got their own companies, and now they're like doing amazing marketing on the web, and they're influencing politicians, and like I was thinking, wow, this is amazing actually. Felt really amazing to be there. And I thought, God, we've missed out on this. We've like missed the boat, you know, and it's going to be difficult now to kind of somehow or other catch up with this, you see, because in many ways the vegans have become on a higher level morally than ISKCON, because like devotees like Shiva Maharaj had pointed out that Srila Prabhupada in 1977, he was wanting the devotees to establish Varnashram, and even in the days, when he went to New Vrindavan and established New Vrindavan, he was saying this is how the devotees should live. You know, they should produce their own food, make their own clothes, and sell the produce and supply the restaurants in the cities. He also said about Vrindavan that it was green, and this is the way it should be, that it should be green. You know, so Shiva Maharaj and other devotees who were concerned that ISKCON hadn't actually fulfilled Srila Prabhupada's desire in that direction, then they started like self-sufficient farming communities, and they also came in contact with a lot of vegans who were very much criticizing ISKCON for being involved in the dairy industry, which was very exploitative and cruel to the cow. And they were thinking, well, you're like from India and the cow's sacred, so how are you allowing cows to be slaughtered just because you like drinking milk? So at that time, you know, I thought, oh, well, perhaps I can like get in touch with some of my vegan contacts from years ago and see what's happening, and you know, so now it's like this kind of discussion's been going on for several years, and so we've had a lot of success in Scotland. One devotee called Raghunath Bhatter, who's did a degree in marketing and management, and he's used Facebook and other social networks to specifically contact vegans. So we now run a Facebook page called Vegans in Scotland, and also we do all you can eat vegan buffets, and we do vegan food for life for the students in Glasgow. So it's very like exciting, and but of course we also acknowledge that cows can give milk without being exploited, but that requires a lot of hard work and knowledge, requires a lot of sacrifice, being willing to learn the skills involved in looking after a dairy farm without exploiting cows. So now we're working with Kalakanta Prabhu, who's the Minister for Cow Protection and Agriculture, also working with Sitaram Prabhu, who's the Director of the Ahimsa Dairy Foundation in England. And also now there's a nice interesting project started in London called Om Noms, which is an ahimsa restaurant in London. As far as we know, it's like the first truly ahimsa restaurant in the world. And so we're just waiting to see how they do, so that we can try to copy these devotees and work with them. And Scotland's very much in the forefront in terms of animal welfare, because it's a rural country, and it's a high dependence. Like probably 80% of the land is farmland, and like there's quite a recent tradition of like producing like farm cheeses and raw milk and high quality produce from animals, but because the commercial meat industry is taken over, then farmers are now under an immense amount of financial pressure to like upgrade their operations to commercial dairies where the cows are really badly trapped. So I just feel Scotland could be the place to really pioneer the ahimsa movement, and my experience of speaking to vegans in Scotland is they're very deep thinking people who are not just going to dismiss something because it doesn't coincide with their present ethics, but they're actually willing to consider other angles of vision. So so we're quite excited about this project, and we hope to have like an ahimsa restaurant in Glasgow, and to make our project completely ahimsa. This actually, in a couple of days, when I go back to the UK, I've arranged to meet a gentleman called David Graham in Manchester, who's the founder of the Vegan Organic Network. So he grows the Vegan Organic Network. They're vegans who grow their own food without using any animal fertilizers, because generally organic food, which you buy in supermarkets, is fertilized either with it's fertilized with things like fish or ground up bones from slaughterhouses, because it's organic. That's where the fertilizer comes from. Unless they're really together and they make their own compost just from vegetable matter. But in general, supermarket organic vegetables are like taking the refuse of slaughtered animals to put into the land. So the vegan organic movement, they don't do that. So they're vegans, and they grow organic vegetables which are fertilized only with natural compost. So I'm going to meet him on Friday in Manchester, and like talk to him about ahimsa, because he started this project when he met someone called Vinod Bhave, who was one of Gandhi's followers in India in like 1955. After he graduated, he went to India and he met Vinod Bhave. Vinod Bhave actually invited Srila Prabhupada to meet him, but he may have met Prabhupada, but he definitely met Gopal Krishna Maharaj, who went to speak with him at Gandhi's ashram in a place called Sevagram or Wada. This was 1975. So many followers of Gandhi are now vegans, but they also acknowledge that Gandhi was in favour of the village economy, which used animals, like for ploughing the land and for the fertilizer. So we think we can perhaps start networking with the vegans and the organic vegans in this way. Anyway, not everybody's so enthusiastic as I am about this, because we have other projects. Obviously we have deity worship, which is to be maintained, and we have book distribution and other kinds of preaching. But personally I feel that it's like a way to educate vegans about the real deep concepts of ecology and sustainability within the spiritual traditions of India, and especially within ISKCON. So anyway, Prabhupada Prana, he doesn't want me to spend too much time on this because I'm the full-time cook and pujari at the temple, but because we have the European Farm Conference in Kurunabhavan this year, and also we had Kalakanta Prabhu and Ajita from different projects around the world, then what we're going to do is we're just going to, whatever information we've gathered from our experience in Scotland, then we're just going to give that to the ISKCON Ministry of Farming and Cow Protection and let them choose where it's best to be, where it will be best applied in the world. So in this way we can be enthusiastic about our research and our networking without thinking that we have to do it in any particular place. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And if any devotees in any other parts of the world want to get involved, and I've got a Facebook page called Go Vegan Pal, and if they want to contact me about some ideas about how we can work together, like networking with vegans, then if they want to contact me on that Facebook page, Go Vegan Pal, G-O, three words, G-O, vegan, and third word pal, P-A-L. And this is actually a name for Krishna because Krishna is the pal of the vegans and the cows. So he's Go Vegan Pal. But it's also a Glasgow expression. It means Go Vegan Pal. It means you should become a vegan. Go Vegan Pal. Right, so that's if you want to contact me on Facebook. Not that I'm a project manager, but together we can assist Vaiṣṇava-saṅga Prabhu in the farm ministry, like with whatever experiences we've had in that different parts of the world. We may have other organisations who we can network with. Hare Krishna.